The telephone changed history in many ways. At first, it was something you keep at your house if you are wealthy. But now, everyone you see has phones. It, it evolved into something too big to take outside, so you can fit it in your pockets. Who should we credit for making the telephone? Well, the first person that always comes to mind is Alexander Graham Bell. And if I didn't do my research, that's who I would say too. But even though he was credited for making it, some other people had parts to play in making it, like Antonio Mecca, Amos Stolber, John Pierce, Charles A. Cheever, and many others. While Italian inventor Antonio Musi is credited with inventing the first basic phone in 1849, and Frenchman Charles Bercherel devised a phone in 1854. Alexander Graham Bell won the first U.S. patent for the device in 1876. So Alexander Graham Bell may have gotten all the credit for making the telephones, but it doesn't mean he was the only one who had a big part to play in the invention of the telephone. The first discernible speech is transmitted over a telephone system when Alexander Graham Bell summons his assistant in another room by saying, "Mr. Watson, come here. I want you." This was a big deal for communication in history because we got a glimpse of what the telephone actually worked like that paved the way for many more. Over many years, the modern version of the telephone makes the one that Bell invented look like a piece of junk. Developments in tone dialing, call tracing, music on hold, and electronic ringers have greatly changed the telephone, while the newer telephones are way better than the first phone. But if the first phone was never made, the world would be a whole different place. When the telephone first came out, it was even more expensive than it is now. Only few rich people actually could or would buy it. Even talking on it for a few minutes would be a fortune back then. Fast forward to now, we use our phones 24/7 and we all have phones. It also changed a way where you can carry it in your pockets. The phone has grown smaller so you can bring it with you mobilely. It may have gotten smaller, but it did not get worse. It actually got better with the added content over the years. The telephone had a large impact. It made businesses more efficient and it saved money from having to travel back and forth from far places. And it made transactions able to occur more quickly. It led to instant communications around the world and even led to the internet, which is a big part because without the internet, people would not be where they are today. If we didn't have instant communication around the world, some big companies wouldn't be so wealthy. Back then, we only used telephones for calling, but now we can do plenty of more things like FaceTime, where we can talk to million, to talk to people millions of miles away on the phone and still see their face. We also have social media like Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. It changed how people see communication. When the telephone was first invented, no one could talk to people from a different state, let alone a different country. Recording on your phone had a part to play in communication too. With the recorded messages, your ringtone, your voice, your mail, and more. You can also send a recorded message to someone. You can also record a video and send it to someone, which is a bigger way of communication than we think. The rise of social media has changed the world's perspective on communication. The increase in speed of communication has created a sense of urgency and a need to share things among people, provided an inside perspective of faraway places, and made digital messages more personal. Ever since the days of Alexander Graham Bell and all the other people who worked there have been people to improve the phones, like Martin Cooper, who's credited for making the most recent telephone, the newest iPhones, like the 12. But that's not the only person who's credited then, even though he is credited with making it, I'm sure many others had parts to play in making it. So as you can see, the telephone had a big part to play in communication and history. It also affected many big businesses into where they are today. Without the telephone, the world would not be what it is today. Also, Alexander Graham Bell was not the first to think of the telephone idea.